Hi, Angel here. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to give you 12 ways that you can make money without having any money to start with. These are all ways that I personally have made money, so I know they're valid. Let's just jump into it. Number one, you can do yard work. You can do general landscaping and yard work, which is like trimming bushes, weeding, raking up leaves, and that just takes sometimes just going door to door, knocking. I know that sounds scary, and it is at first, but the thing is, if you do that, you get better and better at not being impacted by rejection so much. And this is an area it's not my strong suit, but it is an area that I know improves over time with practice. The not getting discouraged when you get a no. So you can go door to door. You can make flyers and you could put them up. And these days you could run an ad on Facebook or not just an ad, but make a post letting people know that you're available to help with yard work or do landscaping, and see what the going rate is in your area for that kind of help. It's usually under the table work can get paid a little bit higher because they're not taking taxes out or paying you any benefits. So a lot of times if you're first starting and you might want to, if you have no experience and you don't know how to pull a weed, for example, you might want to take a job working with a landscaper or somebody like a freelancer or contractor who can hire you so you can learn and then go off on your own and do it. But that's something that is ongoing. There's ongoing need for yard work, landscaping in your neighborhood. So if you just go walking around and find a house that looks like it could use some help, and you got to be careful, don't insult people, but maybe you have some flyers made, or maybe you just walk up and knock on the door or catch somebody outside. My mom hires people pretty often who just catch her outside and she happens to need help and they happen to need some work and ask her. So that's number one way that you can make money with no money, is doing yard work and landscaping. Number two is dog walking. There's a lot of people who don't have time to walk their dogs, and I would say along with that is cleaning up dog poop. You could either do either of those services separately, or you could combine them into a cool service. And again, you need to look at what the competition is in your area, if anybody is doing that, and what they're charging. But basically, a lot of freelance work, you make up you set your own worth. You get to visualize what clients you want. So you might go up to an upscale neighborhood, for example, and get higher paying clients, and then you might have to present yourself more professionally in order to get those kind of clients. If you have any dog training skills, that's an extra bonus, but if you're just good with dogs, you love dogs, a lot of people wouldn't mind, and they might not think of it. So again, you're going to have to find ways of reaching your audience, either door to door or putting up, messages on message boards. Physical and online message boards work well these days. There's Craigslist ads for your services. So that's number two, dog walking / cleaning up after dogs. Number three is elderly care. There's an increasing number of elderly people in your world, and they need help. They need help sometimes just like once a week, somebody to come over and clean the bathroom and do their shopping. They need usually various help. Some of them need a lot more help. They might need somebody to stay there with them all the time. And so I've done a whole variety of that spectrum. I've had elderly people who hired me once a week to come over and help them take care, move heavy things, clean up some things they couldn't get to, go places they can't go to. And I've had elderly people who needed, help bathing, help getting in and out of the bathtub, and whose family hired me to come over and help them a couple times a week. I've had elderly woman who needed like full-time care. She was over 100 years old. She was healthy and sane, but her family wanted somebody always there with her. So when they went away, they had to hire basically a babysitter, but a lady sitter. That sounded wrong. There's probably a better term for it. But in any case, elderly care. There's a lot of room for employment in that, and it's a job. You can go through a service and get get, I think they do a background check. I don't know what credentials they really do, but helping people out, helping out particularly elderly people is a big market. There's plenty of money in it, and it's an area where you could go make money tomorrow or by next week if you want to, and you don't need any money to start. So that was number 3, elderly care. Number 4 is housekeeping. I was a housekeeper for quite a while through my college year. A lot of my college years I did housekeeping, and I had some regular clients. They paid me, back then it was $15 or $20 an hour. These days I probably bid a little bit higher than that, and you bid, you get better and better as you practice at bidding a job and knowing how long it's gonna take you to do it by looking at it, or by knowing how much square footage it is, or what kind of job, whether they want just the sinks and toilets and floors done, or whether they want dusting done, or they have a lot of vacuuming or special needs of any sort, or windows, those are extra and can be really time consuming. So in windows, I didn't even think of that and put it on the list, so that's an extra bonus for you. But it's a whole special area with just doing windows. If you get good at that, it does take a little talent, but it doesn't take any money to get into. Maybe $10 worth of cleaning materials to start. But you could probably find some free Windex and cleaning materials on Free Cycle or something if you really set your mind to it. So housekeeping, also Airbnb is a growing market, and people who host on Airbnb need to keep the place clean. I'm currently doing that myself, and so I can see how soon as I'm making a little more money, it'll be really nice to maybe be able to hire somebody else to come in once a week and routinely take care of some of the cleaning, so that's just one less thing that I have to do. So there's an increasing market for housekeepers for Airbnb and for personal, people who are just busy and or well off enough to afford housekeeping help. And so that's usually word of mouth, but to get your foot in the door, you can put up, again, post on online and physical bulletin boards that you're available, and preferably have a reference, like maybe offer a discount at first, or go clean for somebody for free, even use them as a reference if you have a friend or family, or maybe you already clean for your mom or somebody even, and you could use that as a reference to get started. So that's number 4, housekeeping. Number 5 is tutoring. If you have any special knowledge, like I play guitar, I've done a little bit of tutoring, little private lessons. I read and write English. There's a growing market for online instructors. That does take a little bit higher tech equipment to do it online, but you could probably find some clients in in your area physically, and who would like to meet you, and that pays pretty well. It pays probably $30 an hour on average, and sometimes half of that, sometimes twice or 3 times that, but but depends on what your skill is and what the market is. But that's something. If you have any special skill, maybe you draw, maybe you play an instrument, maybe you speak a language. Probably if you're listening to this, then you probably speak at least one language. And so there are people who would like help learning what you know. Maybe you know how to fix things. Whatever it is, you could start your own sideline business or full-time business with tutoring or teaching in some way, any skill that you have. And you don't have to be I'm not the best guitar player ever, but I'm very, sorry, I got stammery there. I'm good enough guitar player to teach a beginner guitar lesson, up to a certain level. So, you don't have to be an expert necessarily at your skill that you're tutoring. Same with, English. That's, the alphabet probably. So, and I have a degree in education, so I know there's a lot of skill sets that go into learning how to be an educator. But some people have some more or less of them naturally than others. But even without any of that, you'll learn. You'll get better you'll learn by teaching. That's a great way to do it. So, that's number 5, tutoring. Number 6 is busking. again, kind of in the same vein if you have a talent, but this one is scary for a lot of people, and I've only done it a few times actually because it's scary for me too. But but it always feels super empowering when I do. And one of my favorite Patreon members is a performer named Amanda Palmer, I think is her name, and she used to be a 10-foot bride in some, I forget where, maybe in New York, some famous place. But anyway, she would dress up in a bridal gown and stand on a crate and paint up her face and be a mime, stand real still, but then make eye contact with people. And if they gave her any money, she would give them a flower and make eye contact with them. And she has this great TED Talk where she talks about how powerful that is, the exchange of and the human interaction, and how busking really gets you out there and allows for that to happen. And there's many buskers that I really admire, and a lot of buskers are out there not that good, and so I think people kind of have a negative perception. I think it takes a special talent, and like anything, it takes consistency and doing it a lot to get better enough to be really good at busking. But but if you don't even need, if you play any instrument, you can literally just take your instrument out to the corner. Some cities you need a permit, some places, not usually all over the city. And again, you're gonna have to research your area, look at what the market will bear, look at what's the norm, see if you need a permit to go where you want to go, try out different places, see if you make any money here or there, maybe ask permission at your local grocery store, see if they mind if you play your instrument outside, their door with your case open for tips. And get creative. If you make a cool sign, or if you go ahead and dress up and be entertaining, you're gonna probably do a lot better than if you go out there looking like a bum. But if you play any instrument, or if you just can sing, you don't even need an instrument, or if you can rap, rehearse poetry, you could literally take a book, a storybook or a poetry book, stand on the corner if you dressed up entertainingly and read poems or stories, and probably get some tips that way. If you can draw or do cartoons, you could set up a little booth. Again, you probably need to ask permission and weather permitting, but or you could bring your drawings and just set them up on the street. People make money that way. So that's something you could do. You could make, napkin art. You could draw on pieces of wood or driftwood or something interesting that doesn't take any money for you to start, and then you can start to sell. And in fact, if you have internet access, which you do if you're watching me probably, then you could get on Etsy if you're drawing or you have an artistic talent, and that's a great place. There are other sites too. That's just the biggest one that I know of. eBay's all right too, but if you hand make something, Etsy's a great place to list those. And I make a few bucks a month on $20 to $100 a month these days on Etsy. Not a lot. It's not a big source of income, but I don't do a lot of work on it. And if I worked harder on it, I could probably make more. So, and I have anyway. Number 6, I have busked. I haven't made a lot of money. Like I said, it's scary to me, but some people do. Some, like Amanda Palmer, she supported herself. She figured out she could make a regular income if she showed up at the same place. You have to be consistent, like with anything. And if you want to make a consistent income with it, then you're going to have to work it consistently and figure out what works and hone in on that and do it routinely at the time that works. So that was number 6, busking. Number 7 is babysitting, good old babysitting, or childcare, as it's probably now more commonly called. But a lot of parents need help. A lot of moms and dads are not able to work their job and pick up their kids on time or get them to school on time. There's a lot of areas where parents need help raising their kids. And if you're good with kids, if you love kids, or if you're not sure and you want to find out, that's an area where you need no money to get into. You just need to get the word out there, much like housekeeping or dog walking. You could, I don't know about door to door for babysitting. It's best, you definitely need to accumulate some references, and at the very least, you need personal references to say, yes, I know this person, and I've known them so long, and they're a good person before people are going to trust you with their kids. Excuse me. And there are agencies, I think, that'll do a background check and things like that, but I'm sure they cost a little. So you can get your foot in the door through word of mouth, through just putting the word out there. Again, post online and social formats, just get the word out there if you think that's something you want to do, and or maybe talk to some daycare centers. That's a great place to find where there's, well, they're not going to want you to come in necessarily and steal their business, but if you do it right, you could form relationships with parents there, and maybe you're picking them up from the daycare service and taking them home, making them dinner before the parents get home, or just taking them out once a week, to give them a break, whatever it is. There's lots of different needs for childcare help. So that's number 7, babysitting or childcare. Number 8 is tree services. Pruning and tree services is kind of its own specialty, and I worked with a guy for a couple of years who was Joe McDonald was his name. He's a cool guy. I hope he's still around. But anyway, he taught me a lot about pruning trees. We worked on a lot of old fruit tree orchards, so I got to learn a lot about composting and fruit trees and pruning, and I also learned through that's a specialty little niche market where he got clients mostly through word of mouth, but again through posting. He lived in a nice little outskirts town, Corrales, outside of Albuquerque, where there's people with, it's along the river, so there's a lot of big trees, and there's a need constantly for tree management, and people pay. It can be dangerous work. You gotta climb up the trees and use ropes to, control the limbs and make sure that you don't break anyone or anything. And if it's around houses, then it's extra work, extra care. And if you're using chainsaws or power equipment, then that can be extra dangerous. And obviously those are tools that do require some money. But just to start with, like a $10, maybe $10 and $5, some pruners and a handsaw, and again, you could probably get those on Craigslist or borrow them from somebody temporarily until you made a few bucks so you could buy your own tools. But it doesn't take a lot of tools to do tree management, and if you could read a couple books or go online and do a little research so you understand a little about how to do it properly, the time of year, how to make your cuts, and then you have an expertise that you can get paid pretty well for. Tree service actually makes good money once you have your tools, and if you have a truck, and even if you don't, it makes decent money. It's a pretty good place to start. If you need to be physically capable of preferably climbing, and tree services is best done with at least 2 people because of the aspect of needing to use ropes and things to control bigger branches. But you could easily start just by, like, with some hedge shears, and which you could borrow, and you could go to door again to places that have hedges or that look like they need pruning, and just give them a quote, and be prepared for some no's. You're going to get some no's, and the trick is to get better at your asking, to not get discouraged, to treat every ask like you're fresh and it's the first one. And if you come, I have this problem a lot of times. I'll be like, you don't want my services, do you? Or you don't really want to buy my thing. I have this thing, but I don't think it's very good. And of course, I don't, it doesn't help my sales. It's the thing I've been really working on. I'm just fessing up. I'm not proud of it. It's just a fact that I have had that tendency at times, and something I'm working to overcome and get better at is remaining positive every time, even if I get a no. And in fact, you can get jazzed up from a no, because every no is bringing you one step closer to a yes, and you're going to think, what can I learn from that no? How can I improve? And then go at it fresh with a great positive attitude for the next ask. And with tree services, with most of these things that I meant going over here, you're going to need a great positive attitude. That's going to make or break you as far as being able to make money with no money. So that was number 8, tree services. And number 9 is painting. A lot of people need help painting, me included lately, and I have been hired before painting, and it's very similar to these other services in that you just need to put it out there, get out there. You could run an ad on Craigslist, you could post on Facebook or on Instagram and Twitter, whatever social medias you use. You could put a index card up at your local health food shop, or the YMCA, or if you have a college or university around there. Again, if you have the right attitude and you're into it, painting is very physically demanding work. it's, not as much as some, but it is. To do it well, it's tedious a little bit. You gotta tape off your edges real well, and but it's also rewarding because it was, one, you can get paid pretty decent, and for two, it's really cool. I love painting because you just brighten up. You're changing the color or just brightening up an area. It's pretty awesome. So painting, there's good money in it. I would look for people maybe at Home Depot or someplace like that as far as how to connect with people. Maybe you make some business cards, or just, write your info down on some index cards at first if you don't have the money for business cards, and hand those out, write your name and what you do, and you could even combine some of these services if you want to. It depends on where you are and what talents you have. But painting, number 9, is another way that you can make money without any money to start with. Number 10 is, I'm squinting because I have a list behind my camera here and it got small down there. Number 10 is online. That is, yeah, sorry, I got distracted again. It's online. There's lots of ways. So initially I was going to call that just eBay. That's why my scribbles were distracting, because I have an eBay store. I've had an eBay store for 16 years. It's not doing the greatest right now, but it's actually still my main source of income. And I've worked it mostly all by myself. I've hired people a couple of times when I was doing a little bit better and when I was struggling and trying to do better. And lately I just haven't had the cash flow to hire help, but I'm still working. I haven't given up on that to revamp my eBay store. In any case, once you figure out the system, once you gain some credibility on eBay, or depending on what you're selling, if it's just a great way. It doesn't cost anything to get in. They take a back end fee. I pay a little, like a $60 a month fee for an eBay store, but you don't have to do that. You can sign up and just for free start selling stuff and making some money. You can sell stuff you already have. You can make stuff and sell it. And I already mentioned Etsy, but that's another place. I have an Etsy store as well, and that's free. There's pay. You can get fancier and pay. Same with your website, but you don't have to. You can sell stuff online on those formats and others. There's Craigslist, which you can list things online, and that's kind of different because that requires like a physical contact. And in fact, I'm going to back up because that's actually my number 11. So anyway, number 10 though is like completely online stuff. So you can just start by selling what you have, and then once you have a little money, you can start going to like yard sales or other places online, buying stuff, and then reselling it on eBay or Etsy if it's handmade. Etsy's really for like supplies and handmade stuff. eBay is, I sell essential oils and herbs and creative supplies, shamanic supplies on eBay, but the majority of stuff on eBay is more like electronics and clothes. In fact, clothes, shoes, that's a really great market on eBay, used or new. Actually, and used, you can find them, at yard sales, and then make pretty good money once you learn the market. So if you already know a little about fashion, clothing, shoes, that might be a good area for you. There's lots of areas, and you need to do some research. Do your research. I'm working on a little mini course right now on starting your own eBay business, so you could hit me up and maybe I have a little course for you. But in any case, there's lots of free information right here on YouTube or the internet, and you can find out what the latest greatest is, because the algorithms change over time. So depending on when you're watching this, if I told you how to do it right now, it could be different by the time you watch this. So but there's some basics to it, and the main basic is consistency. It's the same basic with every business, really. It's like positive mindset, trying new things until you find out what works, and then consistently doing that. So you have to consistently list, you have to consistently buy stuff to sell, you have to consistently research and find out where the market's going. So that's number 10 was online. Number 11 is just kind of similar but a little bit different, and that's Craigslist and Free Cycle, places where you might have to access it online, but it's more of a physical interaction. And again, you could sell the things you have, you sell used stuff, and you can even, in fact, get free stuff on Craigslist, or I don't know if you're familiar with freecycle.com or .org rather, but that's in a lot of cities. that's a place where you hook up via email, but then you meet physically. And, a lot of times I just leave stuff on the porch or have people leave stuff outside and find it. So you don't have to actually interact when it's free stuff. When it's paid, obviously, if you're selling stuff on Craigslist, which is the money part. So you get stuff for free on Craigslist and or Free Cycle, and then you resell it or, sell it for more, or, you get it for free. So then you sell it on Craigslist, basically make a listing. Craigslist can be tricky. Everybody who's tried it knows you can get spammed. You have to be smart about how you list and not just put your information out there in a way that's going to get you spammed or be risky for you. But it's relatively safe. I've done many transactions, I've bought and sold things on Craigslist very successfully, and it's a great way to make money if you don't have any money. And number 12, I was looking at my list. Number 12, I'm just starting to get into, and I was just thinking to myself, I don't know if I've actually made any money on it. Number 12 is affiliate marketing. I have made money from Amazon, but that's for some little books that I wrote. And in a way, it's like affiliate marketing, my own thing, because once it's made and put out, once you basically make the digital version and upload it, then, and it's similar, it's a little different, but in affiliate marketing, let me back up. Affiliate marketing is just, I've got some links down in my YouTube description that are those are affiliate links to products on Amazon. And then if you buy anything, it doesn't cost you any more. It's the same price it would, but I get like a 3 to 6% cut of whatever you buy within a certain time period if you follow one of my affiliate links. And those percentages vary, but if you're doing any YouTube stuff or any social media stuff, it's not a bad idea to consider affiliate marketing, because it doesn't cost you anything. It's totally free, and it's just it's a good idea to only promote the things that you really believe in, that you've tried or that you like, and why not, especially if you're talking about something already, people might want to see that, so why not give them the link and then make a little commission. And actually a lot of YouTubers make really decent money on affiliate marketing. There's lots and lots of different, almost every company has an affiliate program. Big companies, there's big conglomerate companies. Again, I'm just starting to get into that, so I'm pretty excited about it, but it is a way that you can make money with no money. And also, if you've written a book or you want to promote yourself, it's not a bad idea to look into getting into a program on the other side of it where you have other people helping promote or sell your book or your services, and then you're giving them a little commission. That's affiliate marketing in the other direction, and it can also bring you more money for no money, basically. You have to set up the program, and then it just works on its own. Of course, you have to manage it and check it up on it a little bit here and there. So, wow, that's a long video. That might be my longest ramble yet. I wasn't expecting that, but I thank you for sticking with me. I hope that you got some value out of, out of this 12 ways that you can make money online with no money, that you can make money with no money. Till next time, cheers.